mission will win a free copy of Age of Empires for the winner of which should be announced tomorrow at 15 GMT. But enough of that. Let's focus on what's in front of us. It's game number 2 between VortiX and Beasty.
And we see VortiX going to be immediately walking out with a villager for the dock. And I would assume, yeah, we do see Beasty going for the same play here. Do we see him open up with any barracks, though? I mean, usually when we see a villager walk out for that Dark Age dock, it usually indicates that we won't be seeing a barracks with this.
No, it's too much of a difference, right? Like, you can invest, you can get your hands on the racks, but then, like, you need to get all your workers on food for the men-at-arms, but then you need all your workers on wood for the fishing boats, right? So it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it in this situation. Instead, BC says it's better to get my economy sorted than kind of focus on shutting down my opponents.
Interesting fish spawns here as well. Looks a little bit favored here for VortiX, but you got to remember with the roost, they don't need to drop off their fishing or their fish. So it doesn't make that much of a difference for him.
Now, he does get 2 retracted fish, though, which I kind of like for him better as the roost player. Like, you know, you can just park them further away behind and then create ships as your kind of front line. I think that's usually the big, interesting detail when you look at these spawns and where people place their docks is, like, how many safe fish do they have? Like, if a fight occurs next to their base, you know, have they got backup options? Have they got 2 at least deep water fishes close by that they can exploit? So we're doing reasonably well for VortiX, though. Like, Beasty's going to snipe out some of these deer, but I believe VortiX already got both his stacks and is just kind of seeking out the walls where he can find them. Woodline is pretty nice, actually, for a roost player in this game. They didn't get any forward tree line this time around, but you can see how easily Kremlinable this is. Yes, that's going to be the term. He can cover his gold and his wood, which means that there'll be no opportunity for Beasty to use a king if he commits to one.
Yeah, that's a very nice position for a Kremlin right there. Would have been nice if the gold was on the other side, though, so it's slightly closer to your water, but not that much of a big deal right there.
Yeah, it's more about, like, resource pocketing, right? We've all been in those games where the most obvious one is HRE. My gold is on one side of my base, my wood and food are on the other. God damn it, why can't I be one of those guys who gets gold, stone, wood, and food all on one screen, Merlin? Just one game. So you've probably seen quite a lot of this matchup as well, right? Because I think this has kind of been the go-to matchup for a long time. I remember before we started seeing Roost like regular in this map, it used to be French and English. How do you feel about the French right now? Because I feel like nobody wants to even touch them with a barge bow.
Yeah, no one wants to touch the French. I mean, they haven't received any buffs, really. I mean, they've had a few changes to their keeps and town centers with the arbalest arrows. But apart from that, there's not really been any changes, and every other civilization just keeps receiving these buffs. So, yeah, it's understandable why the French have sort of just fallen off.
All right,
but VortiX... Oh, yeah, go on.
I was gonna do one of my wacky theories. Hear me out. Chamber of Commerce on Holy Island. They'll never see it coming.
That's certainly interesting. That reminds me of a game I saw where Kalp used the trade wing going into Age 2 on this map, and he got the 3 free traders and tried to get off a little bit of early trade, but unfortunately it got walled up before the traders even arrived. So
what I'm noticing
I don't know.
I can tell you've been casting a while because you've done that thing that we do. That's very interesting. It's our polite and professional way of saying it's pretty bad, but I don't want to say it's bad. I appreciate that.
Exactly.
Early raid coming in. VortiX ready for the switcheroo as he reaches feudal age. Quite a bit ahead of Beasty here, actually. Which is a problem, because I think Beasty... Oh, he committed into a lot of fishing boats. In fact, I believe he's building a second dock right now.
Yeah, building a second dock on the backline there. Council Hall not even halfway constructed yet. This is a perfect timing for VortiX right here. Changing both of his fishing ships there into galleys. The arrow ships. So... we can see they're getting some nice idle time right there. 3 fishing ships having to jump inside the dock.
Oh, no.
And it's Beasty's second dock.
This is RNG.
Oh,
He's going to get it because of that. Wow. Okay, we got to discuss that because I've seen this. I don't know if you noticed this recently. There's an RNG factor to the way that spread of arrows comes out. He could have lost that villager earlier, and this dot probably doesn't go up as a result of that.
Wow.
I don't know, man. Like, sometimes these guys turn up, it's like their units out of Sniper Elite, and other times it's like you got Stormtroopers for Archer ships. So it's just, that inconsistency can really win you or lose you games in the early game.
Yeah. Do you think this... Oh, yeah, here it is. VortiX calling in the militia now to go and burn down the docks.
Now,
This is such a smart move from him.
I've coined a term for this, Merlin, if you'll back me up on this. Usually in RTSs, there's a name for kind of cheesy, scummy strategies. I believe it's douching. This is bar douching, because those guys, they carry bardishes. There you go, a little bit of historical accuracy for you there.
Oh. The more you know.
Don't ask me how I know that's a bardiche. I knew too many weird medieval facts. That gold, oh my god, that's like the most annoying position. You're an English player and your gold isn't protected.
Yeah. Does he get the villager?
Oh,
he needs to target it down, and they're currently chasing a different villager.
That's chalked. I mean, you're diving Gatling guns here. Idle time may have made that kind of okay. Remember, it's 40 resources. He idled 3 villagers for, like, what, I want to say 20 seconds by the time they get back on. So they missed out on, you know, about 12, 15 resources each. And then you have the idle time of 8 villagers for about, you know, 5 to 10 seconds. So, like, realistically, I'd say that's about an even exchange for VortiX in terms of what he got out of the militia.
Yeah. VortiX has retreated back with his boats for the time being. One of his galleys very low on HP, but he's sending out another 2 now. Beasty's got two galleys of his own. Dropping down a 3rd dock right now.
I would have loved to have seen VortiX go for an aggro dock here. Like, he had the edge on the tech up. He could have maybe snuck a villager. It's a heavy investment of wood, but because you have the Kremlin, you should have extra wood anyway. That being said, we haven't discussed how far out that Kremlin is. It is, of course, going to be in range. I think he has to drop an additional lumber camp to instantly keep it in range. But remember, folks, don't go, haha, noob. Why is this Kremlin not near the wood line? The influence is actually quite large. I think it was it 5 and then they made it 7 tile range or something like that. It's an insanely large area. Uh-oh, we're bardouching again. This time it's 6 of them as well, by the way.
Yeah, that's quite a number coming forward now. And again, this would be a good time for VortiX to maybe go for that forward dock. See a demo ship coming in as well. He might be able to get a nice shot off, but VortiX, he's microing down the galleys right now. He needs to take those out before he can engage with his demos.
Nice repairs coming out from Beastie as well. Does idle them up a little bit, but VortiX throwing away here. Trying to create space to get the demo in. He needed a dive to get on the galley ship. He might be able to clean it up in time. So an opportunity here, but VortiX, I mean, he's sacrificing a lot and getting nothing out of it.
Demo ship coming in from Beastie as well. Militia on the gold mine, though, going to be causing a little bit more idle time here. Taking out 2 villagers.
It's actually a pretty good start. And he's probably still got, like, what, 30 seconds left on those guys? Look at the idle time there. And remember, VortiX needs this, right? Like, Beastie has just kind of pummeled his fleet a little bit. VortiX is in the midst of a transition, by the way. It's not just bardouching that's about to happen. There's something a little faster coming. Knights are being produced by the Rus.
I like this move a lot. I like it.
And still more bardishes on the way in the meantime. I mean, honestly, these militia are just so annoying. I love this idea by VortiX. By bringing the militia as well, which are speedy, they're 1.5 movement speed unit, they're going to arrive on one side of the base and frustrate Beastie. And Beastie might just like move away and think that it's a done deal and not notice the knight coming in on the other side.
Yeah, so the militia are going to be moving in from the north while the knight goes down to the south on the wood line, possibly.
And now
2 knights out for VortiX. 3rd one in the queue.
Yeah, so VortiX's whole idea has changed, right? Like, you know, he had this great aggro early on, and most Rus players would have actually pushed that. But now VortiX just wants to turtle up on water, get his fishing wherever he can, and turn this into a full land aggression. And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, Beastie, he's forced to commit with the villagers to fight back, but idle time alone is killing him here.
Yeah. And that idle time on the wood line is what's buying VortiX time to rebuild his fleet of his own. And we see he's just transitioned a load of boats right there. So he's got five Springwood ships and 2 arrow ships. Beastie, not almost matching the numbers right there.
Okay, here's an interesting one for you. Like, do you know how uncomfortable you feel as Beastie? Like, you kind of want it anyway, but he had to go wheelbarrow because of these raids. It makes a lot of sense, and that'll minimize the idle time compared to where it was before. But this is just reactionary, right? It doesn't feel like you're doing this just because it's productive. Of course you get value out of that. It's a necessity because of these knights now. Knights that are sniping even more villages. In fact, that should be 2 more going down.
Wow. A third one even here.
You got to be careful with the
going to be
dives.
committing to it.
Yeah, dive the woodline instead, because what you got to remember is you are up against the TC fire, the double TC fire. But man, I don't feel good about BC having to do this. I mean, he's tickling for 1 damage each per villager. And idling a lot in the meantime.
VortiX going to be pushing forward on the water once again. Lots of idle time on Beastie's woodline does mean he can't continuously produce ships.
Also, keep in mind,
result
BC
of
had to produce Lombos to address the militia, and now he has no answer to the knights. He needs to get a axe.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But that's even more wood.
You know
right
what's going
now,
to be
the
more
wood-
wood? Replacing all these fishing boats that are going to die.
Yeah. Demo ships coming in. Beastie
That's it.
doesn't have an answer to the fishing ships. And GG's called.
What? Beastie, don't rob us of that beautiful double demo whammy right there. That would have wiped out the fleet. Man, VortiX, this was procedural. Just the right
Wow.
amount of measured aggression on Navy, and then a switch over to land that Beastie was always a step behind in. Shows you exactly why the Rus is quickly becoming the #1 pick for Holy Island.
Yeah, I think I've seen a 100% win rate for Roos on this map.
Hey man, you know what? Win weight is correct there, because if it's 100%, then all you're doing is picking something against the Roost to then wait to lose and go map free in this situation. It's kind of crazy. I mean, but you see how succulent it is. I mean, so how easy it is. It's kind of crazy with this change that the devs made. You know, they kind of just doubled down on the issue that the Kremlin was creating. Like, compared to the previous build where you got 6 militia for 100 food, it is more pricey, but it's also more flexible, right? Like, I can always have a ticket available, spawn 2 of them because I get a ticket per minute for just 40 food. And if I just get 2 of those militia in and I push, in that case, 3 villages back for several seconds each, at bare minimum, I've earned back what I spent in terms of idle time exchanged.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Kremlin, I think I was a little bit skeptical about the Kremlin when they said about all these changes, and it sounded really confusing and complex, but I really like what they've